Coming up today is the World Digest. Donald Trump's surprise victory in the U.S. presidential election. President Park Geun-hye holds telephone talks with Trump and congratulates him on his win. They also vow to strengthen their military alliance. Hillary Clinton and President Obama call for Americans to unify following Trump's shock victory. Trump and Obama are set to meet at the White House on Thursday. South Korea's finance chief vows to take swift action against any market turmoil following the U.S. presidential election. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello, it's noon on Thursday, the 10th of November. You're tuned in to our midday newscast here on Arirang TV. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Mark Broom. We start this afternoon with the international reaction to Donald Trump's victory in the US presidential election. World leaders have been congratulating soon-to-be President Trump on his surprise win. Allies say they hope to further strengthen their ties with the United States, while old foes are looking forward to a change in their relationship with Washington. EG1 has our top story.
World leaders have been sending congratulatory messages to Donald Trump after his unexpected win in the U.S. election, along with their hopes for future cooperation with the U.S. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe sent his heartfelt congratulations to Trump in a statement Wednesday, according to Japanese news agencies. He said that Japan and the United States are unshakable allies and that they share the same values, including freedom, democracy, and basic human rights.
I hope to work with the next U.S. President Trump on many global issues. I'm looking forward to working with him.
China also sent its congratulations. According to China's state media, Chinese President Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory message to Trump and told him that the world's two biggest economies bear the special responsibility of promoting global development and prosperity. President Xi also emphasized the importance he places on the U.S.-China relationship and said that he looks forward to working with Trump in expanding their ties in every field. Russia, who has had tense relations with the U.S. due to conflicts in Ukraine and Syria and allegations of Russian cyber attacks, also had an optimistic outlook for its relationship with the U.S. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday said he had heard Trump campaign statements on improving ties with Moscow and that Russia is ready to do its part to that end.
It is not an easy path, but we are ready to do our part and do everything to return Russian and American relations to a stable path of development.
As Trump is known for his unpredictability, both America's allies and its rivals are waiting in anticipation of what their future relations with the United States will be like. 이지원, Arirang News.
And this just in, we are hearing that President Park Geun-hye spoke with US President-elect Donald Trump on the phone this morning. In the first phone call between the two, which lasted about 10 minutes from 10 a.m. Korea time a couple of hours ago, President Park and Trump reaffirmed the country's alliance, with Trump saying the US will firmly guard South Korea to ensure it's safe from military threats. President Park sent a congratulatory message on Wednesday afternoon, immediately after Trump's victory was confirmed, expressing hope for stronger ties and cooperation between the two nations. She also ordered diplomacy and security officials to prep relevant measures needed for the transition period. Hillary Clinton has appeared in public for the first time since suffering that surprise defeat in Tuesday's election. She voiced hope Donald Trump would be a successful president for all Americans. President Obama also congratulated Trump on his historic victory. No Aram has more.
In an emotional concession speech in New York on Wednesday, Hillary Clinton expressed disappointment over the result and voiced hope that Trump would be a successful president.
I hope that he will be a successful president for all Americans. This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for, and I'm sorry that we did not win this election for the values we share and the vision we hold for our country. But I feel pride and gratitude for this wonderful campaign that we built together. This vast, diverse, creative, unruly, energized campaign.
She also called on supporters to keep an open mind, adding that Trump must be given a chance to lead.
We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead. Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power. And we don't just respect that, we cherish it.
The incumbent president, Barack Obama, congratulated his successor in a phone call in the early hours of the morning. Speaking at the White House after the phone call, Obama stressed the importance of a smooth transition of power.
So I have instructed my team to follow the example that President Bush's team set 8 years ago and work as hard as we can to make sure that this is a successful transition for the president-elect. Because we are now all rooting for his success in uniting and leading the country. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy.
President-elect Trump will hold his first transition meeting with Obama on Thursday at the White House before being inaugurated as the 45th U.S. president on January 20th next year. Noaram, Arirang News.
Now, the South Korean government says it has been in contact with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's team scores of times over the past few months and is ready to ensure bilateral ties won't be affected by the incoming administration in Washington. And in what's being seen as a way to alleviate concerns about Trump's foreign policy plans, one of his closest advisors says the two countries can build an even stronger relationship in the coming years. Kwon-Soo has the details.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump believes the South Korea-U.S. friendship is important and will remain important. This is according to remarks made by Pete Hoekstra, a former congressman and one of Trump's foreign policy advisors, through the Washington-based Korea Economic Institute on Wednesday local time. He said Trump will, quote, build on that relationship to grow our economies to the benefit of both countries and coordinate on national security issues to handle regional threats as the two sides enjoy strong national security and economic ties. Despite the statement, there are serious concerns in South Korea that the incoming Trump administration could withdraw U.S. troops from the country and take steps to renegotiate their free trade deal, as Trump has mentioned numerous times during his campaign speeches. According to an official at Seoul's Foreign Ministry Thursday, the special measurement agreement on the sharing of the financial burden of stationing U.S. troops in South Korea is due to run through 2018. And for such an agreement to be cancelled, it needs to be approved by both sides. The official stressed the focus should be on communicating with the transitioning team, adding the Obama administration took 11 weeks to pull all its members in place. The Foreign Ministry has been emphasizing that it had been operating a task force to prepare for either outcome and has been active in outreach efforts, making 106 contacts with key figures from the Trump camp this year alone, which is more than the 86 times it contacted Clinton's campaign team. Kwon-Soo, Arirang News.
Now, with Donald Trump's election victory, South Korea's political parties are gearing up for a new U.S. administration. During the ruling Saenuri Party's regular morning meeting, party leader Lee Jung-hyun said he plans to meet with experts to assess Trump's surprise victory, but he urged the party to remain calm. He said the ruling party would work with the government to maintain stable economic relations with the United States and avert a security crisis stemming from North Korea. The opposition parties are seeking to reassure the public and vow to maintain strong ties with the United States as well. In addition, main opposition Democratic Party of Korea floor leader Woo Sang-ho said he will strengthen parliamentary diplomacy with the U.S. Congress to strengthen bilateral relations. Korea's financial authorities are bracing for some potential turbulence following the U.S. presidential election. While Trump's unexpected victory may add uncertainties in the financial market in the short term, local authorities aren't overly pessimistic. Shin Se-min reports.
Korea's finance minister says the government will act swiftly to stabilize local markets amid the rising uncertainties surrounding the new U.S. presidential elect. Speaking at a ministerial meeting on Thursday morning, Finance Minister Yoo Il-ho said the possibility of a shift in U.S. economic policy has only added to the uncertainties in the global financial market and the real economy, already burdened by the Brexit and the slowdown of the Chinese economy.
The government will come up with effective countermeasures after analyzing Trump's campaign pledges and their impact on our trade and export fronts.
He added that the government will keep an eye on any changes that could impact Korea through its various channels in Washington to maintain relations that benefit both sides. He also said that if necessary, the financial authorities in Korea will act immediately to stabilize the market. On the day of the election, Korean markets were jittery, with the benchmark Kospi closing down 2.25%, finishing at 1958, while the tech-heavy Kosdaq sank nearly 4%, finishing below the 600-point mark. But on a brighter note, Yoo said that some of Trump's campaign pledges, like one to boost the manufacturing sector, could end up benefiting the Korean economy. Echoing that optimism, Korea's top central banker Lee Jae-yol said the markets have reflected expectations that Trump's protectionist stance could result in more growth-friendly policies for economies, although his unexpected victory has intensified uncertainties in the short term. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Now, in other news, Korea's opposition parties are standing firm on their rejection of President Park Geun-hye's request that they recommend a candidate for Prime Minister. The main opposition Democratic Party of Korea said the president had violated the constitution by allowing her confidant, Choi Soon-sil, to interfere in state affairs. At a general meeting of its lawmakers, they agreed to press President Park to give up her power over domestic affairs and transfer her duties to the next Prime Minister. They will hold a rally this weekend demanding President Park's resignation. The ruling Saenuri Party said that under the Constitution, it is impossible for the President to hand over her powers or proclaim martial law, and they urged the opposition parties to select a Prime Minister candidate and help put an end to the political crisis. And the presidential office has called on the opposition parties to answer the president's call and name their own Prime Minister candidate. In a daily briefing, the presidential office spokesperson said that Chung Wha-dae hopes that the National Assembly will propose a candidate so there's no vacuum in state affairs. The president had previously pledged to immediately appoint a nominee recommended by lawmakers. The top office said it continues to contact and communicate with the parliament to try and arrange a meeting between the president and party leaders for further discussion on the new prime minister's authorities and rights. Now, Asian shares rebounded on Thursday following overnight gains on Wall Street, recovering from the shock of Donald Trump's presidential victory. Seoul's benchmark Kospi opened higher and was trading at over 1.9% as of 11:50 a.m., about 25 minutes ago. Korea's main index plunged 2.25% the previous day amid growing uncertainties about the impact that a Trump victory could have on the financial market and the global economy in general. Japan's Nikkei recouped Wednesday's losses of more than 5%, trading up 6%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng recovered its losses on Thursday morning. European stocks, which had fallen as much as 3% at one point in trading, closed higher. Britain's FTSE 100 added 1%, Germany's DAX 30 and France's CAC 40 both added roughly 1.5%. On Wall Street, US stocks bounced back on Wednesday after seeing some major sell-offs overnight. The S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq all closed up over 1%. Korea's central bank is widely expected to keep its key rate steady at its monthly monetary policy meeting on Friday. In a recent survey of 100 local market experts, 99% believe the Bank of Korea will freeze its rate at the current 1.25%. This as the BOK will want to gauge what impact Donald Trump's victory in the US presidential election will have on the world economy, as well as to see what move the Federal Reserve will make at its December rate-setting meeting. Now, the Fed had signalled that a rate hike could be in the works in December, and while most analysts agree the Fed will maintain its stance, it could put its plans on hold until next year should Trump's victory trigger market volatility and uncertainty. The US State Department has reissued its travel warning for North Korea, reminding American citizens once again about the serious risk of arrest and long-term detention in accordance with Pyongyang's wartime law. The latest alert replaces an already strong notice from August and strongly urges US citizens to avoid all travel to North Korea, as harsh sentences can be imposed for actions that would not be considered crimes in the United States. The State Department has renewed the warning every 3 months since February, after the US passed legislation that strengthened the sanctions against North Korea. Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broom. Thank you as always for tuning in. We will be back throughout the day with more newscasts. Our next scheduled bulletin is coming up at 2 p.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.